This is extremely serious for the Labour Party. And it has said, we've got to get these people back again. I think Keir Starmer said, I am determined to bring you back. Okay, what's he going to do to bring them back? Nothing good, I'm afraid. Nothing good. It's going to be more kowtowing to the Islamizing agenda, or the Islamizing demands as far as the country in general is concerned. And it's going to be without doubt a further hardening of the British government's attitude towards Israel. Now, we'll see how far that goes. We don't know quite whether Keir Starmer really has a kind of back.
Historically, the Labour Party has relied on strong support from Muslim voters. But after the October 7th attacks, Labour leader Keir Starmer publicly backed Israel's right to defend itself, a move that angered many Muslim voters who wanted him to call for an immediate ceasefire. As a result, a significant number of Muslim voters withdrew their support for Labour, and the party ended up losing several key seats in the general election. Now, renowned journalist Melanie Phillips has raised a serious concern. She fears Labour might try to win back Muslim voters by giving in to their demands, a move she worries could lead to the increasing Islamization of British policies. She also points out that, because there are many more Muslims than Jews in the UK, political parties might focus more heavily on Muslim interests going forward, which could reshape British politics in major ways. In this video, we'll look at clips of Melanie Phillips discussing her concerns and predictions in detail. Before we get into it, make sure to give this video a like to show your support, and subscribe to the channel for more insightful political content. Let's dive in.
This Muslim bloc emerged a few months ago with a list of demands made to the Labour Party, which everyone knew was going to become the next government. And the Labour Party is historically the place where, it's the party where most Muslims cast their votes. And this bloc emerged with a list of demands, several of which were to do with, basically severing all relations with Israel, ending arms sales, casting it as a pariah state. But there were other demands to do with Islamizing Britain, adapting Britain to Islamic precepts, and people took a very dim view of that. That emerged in local municipal elections. So come the general election, and this took a very sinister turn indeed, because Labour candidates, ironically, many of them candidates who themselves had expressed extremely hostile views about Israel, and were entirely signed up to the Palestinian cause, were abused, harassed, intimidated, some with, violence in their homes, in their constituencies, on the hustings, in meetings, by Muslims furious at the Labour Party. Now, why were they so furious? Because after all, the Labour Party is fantastically pro-Palestine. The party isn't anti-Israel enough. Because when October 7 happened, when the pogrom happened, Keir Starmer said immediately, Israel has the right to defend itself. And he said that repeatedly, and I'm sure he meant that. And he did not agree to the demand made by the Muslim community and his left wing that he should insist upon an immediate ceasefire. He said, it's just not possible. It's that surrender. I want a ceasefire in the fullness of time. And then over the months that passed since October 7, he came under more and more pressure, and the ceasefire became more and more immediate, and it became a kind of humanitarian ceasefire. He was weaseling about until he got to the point not that long ago where he said immediate ceasefire. Now, the Muslim community took a very, very dim view of this havering around. They wanted him basically to say, Israel is committing all these terrible offences to do with supporting Israel. And he didn't. As a result, the Muslim vote collapsed. It collapsed. The Muslim vote for Labour collapsed. They harassed and intimidated Labour candidates. That was terrible. But what the Labour Party was so horrified by was that something like, I don't know what it was, I've forgotten quite the figure, but the drop in the Muslim vote for the Labour Party, it dropped by something like 23%. And the Labour Party lost, I think, 5 so-called independents of whom Jeremy Corbyn was one, even though Jeremy Corbyn is not a Muslim, all these 5 independents fought this British general election, which is about British issues. They fought this election on the issue of Gaza-Palestine. And Labour lost 5 seats, and it came within a whisker in a number of other seats of losing it, hang on by its fingernails. This is extremely serious for the Labour Party. And it has said, we've got to get these people back again. I think Keir Starmer said, I am determined to bring you back. Okay, what's he going to do to bring them back? Nothing good, I'm afraid. Nothing good. It's going to be more kowtowing to the Islamizing agenda, or the Islamizing demands as far as the country in general is concerned. And it's going to be with hardening of the British government's attitude towards Israel. Now, we'll see how far that goes. We don't know quite whether Keir Starmer really has a kind of backbone, whether he has a red line. We don't know where his red lines are. He is deliberately opaque. He fought the general election campaign. One of the reasons why people were so unhappy with him was that he was slippery. He didn't answer the question, or he kept changing his position. He stands on all this. And I certainly wouldn't like to say whether he's going to kowtow to this agenda completely, whether he's going to resist it, find the backbone. He might. I don't know. But
we are witnessing a troubling trend where political leaders seem willing to compromise their core principles just to please a vocal minority. Are we really ready to sacrifice the very values that define Britain, democracy, freedom, and equality, just to win votes from a powerful group? The demands of this growing Muslim voting bloc, some argue, could lead to fundamental changes in British society. Adapting British laws to align with Islamic teachings would risk eroding the foundations of the nation itself. This is exactly what worries Melanie Phillips. Watch now as she explains why such a shift could be dangerous, and why, in her view, it's becoming more likely by the day.
There are 4 million Muslims in Britain, roughly speaking, according to official statistics, which I think are a little conservative, but anyway, that's the official number. And in terms of the Jewish community, in terms of those who identify as Jews, in other words, they belong to a synagogue, they're registered for a burial in a Jewish cemetery, whatever, like something like that, there's no more than 280,000. I mean, do the math. No contest. Would any political party choose to prioritize the Jewish community over 4 million Muslims, especially given the underlying and not so underlying? Don't forget also, my final point on this is that this emergence of this Muslim political bloc comes on the heels of what we've seen in Britain as elsewhere, but what we've seen in Britain, which is so very striking, which is basically 9 months of Hamas supporting, Israel demonizing, anti-Jewish demonstrations of a vicious nature, and the mass parading of the Palestinian flag, which people don't realize quite why Jews have such a problem in the street marching with their Palestine flag. It's not just a flag. It's a bit like, I feel this when I go to London and I see this. It's a bit like seeing the streets of Britain taken over by Nazi insignia and Nazi symbolism, because to me, Palestinianism is based on the eradication of Israel and the appropriation, the theft of Jewish cultural and historic identity in the land. And flag means to me, and I'm pretty sure it's what it means at some level to an awful lot of Jews. And yet this has been permitted. And there is an element to these demonstrations, which is, the only way I can describe it is ecstatic and euphoric, because it's since October 7, they thought you could feel it, and they said it, we've got them. We've got them. We have managed to slaughter all these Israelis in an Israel which thought it was impregnable. We've now shown it is vulnerable. And after that, we're now on course to destroy Israel. We're on course to destroy the Jewish people. And after that, we will destroy the Christian world. They say it, and you can feel it in the atmosphere. And that's why the confluence of this Muslim bloc, a Labour government which is likely to be quite sympathetic, because a lot of this a significant proportion of people in the party are from this Muslim bloc. The already visible signs of turning against Israel. This is why it's also.
Do you agree with Melanie Phillips? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the discussion. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned. In our next video, we'll explore some of the most critical issues shaping Britain today.